Hello painting peeps and welcome. It's Kathleen from COZ Creations. Welcome to the No Bra Zone number 2, guys. I am glad you're here. I'm going to try to go a little fast today because Sweet Nelson is right outside my studio area and he's getting ready to do some vacuuming and cleaning. My space is downstairs in my storage area in our garage here in Asheville, and sometimes there's activity going on out there, so hopefully it will not disrupt us. And guys, if you have time to hang to the end of the video, I'm going to give you a little tour of my little space down here. I absolutely love it. When I was my studio on Hilton Head Island is like 380 square feet, and this studio right here is very small. It's only about 10 feet, 12 feet wide, and probably 35 or 40 foot deep. But I've got it set up just beautifully, and I almost prefer it because everything is close at hand. But let's talk about what we're doing today. I'm doing what I call a Mac Mina pour. When excuse me guys, my voice is still recovering from my trip to Texas, but when I was in Texas with the Massey boys and beautiful Mina Villegas and darling Sarah Mack, I spent a lot of time paying attention to what they were doing when they painted, and we also taught each other different little tricks of the trade and techniques that I'm not quite used to. I'm going to be doing a straight ring pour. At least I think that's what they're called. I don't know all my different names for the different techniques, but Sarah and Mina spent some time showing me how to paint with thicker paints, because I do not paint with thicker paints and mine are more like water. But take a look at this guy. Now, I have mixed all of these up already, but I didn't finish this one up, so I'm going to kind of share with you a few things that I've learned. Our pouring medium today is mix pour. The ladies like it because of the thickness, and what I do is I start off by adding about a tablespoon or so of my Golden Gack 800 in the bottom of my cup, and then I add 1 part paint to it, and I mix that paint up really good with my Gack 800, and then I add about 1.5 parts of the mix pour. So I start off with my Gack 800, and then I add my paint, and then I add my mix pour. So about a tablespoon of the Golden Gack 800, 1 part paint, and 1.5 parts mix pour. And then you have to usually add water. If I'm using a fluid paint, like this fellow right here, I did not need to add much water because the paint itself is very fluid. But our tube paints, guys, are a heavier body paint, and this right here is a tube paint. Where did I put it? This is Arteza Pearl Sage Green, an absolutely lovely color. So that's what we have in our cups so far, but as you can see, it's kind of a blob on a blob on a blob. It's all mixed up really good, but it's a little bit too thick. So I'm going to have to start adding some water to it to get it to the right consistency. And darling Mina explained to me that there's a sweet spot when you're mixing your paints. You go from a blob on a blob on a blob here that you see to just a smooth, creamy spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a little bit of water to this guy until I get it to the consistency of my other paints. Let's take a look at the consistency of those other paints. You can see how much creamier and smoother that they are. So what I'm looking for is what looks to me like pancake batter. When you pour pancake batter out of your container, into the pan. It's a thick, creamy substance. So that's what we're looking for. We are looking for that sweet spot. So let's stir this guy up. He's still a little bit blobby. I hope that you can see that okay. I picked a lighter color paint to mix for you. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to this guy. And what I generally do is I start with my thinnest paint. And my thinnest paint in these colors right here was my Treasure Gold Aquamarine. I put my GAC 800 in there. I added my paint to it. I added my pouring medium, and I got that to the sweet spot. And then I continued down with the heavier body paints. Let's give this guy a good stir. I love what Mina said to me. You're looking for that sweet spot. Now, we're not quite there yet, guys. So, a little bit more water to this guy. And you stir the heck out of it, guys. And you can almost tell by the way it feels in the cup when you're there. Just a tiny bit more, guys. So different paints take different amounts of water. It depends on the density of your paint. Your heavier body paints are going to take more water than your fluid paints, guys, but I'm pretty sure you realize that. And I hope I don't repeat myself too much. I do, because I get a lot of the same questions in the comments on my YouTube videos. So I try to address all those things more often than not. And we are there. Can you see the creaminess that's there? It's no longer blobbing down. It's just a nice, smooth stream. So there you have it, guys. I hope that helps. Let's move on to what we're doing here today. We're working on a 20 by 24 inch gallery wrap canvas. I wanted to do a 20 by 20, but I was all out of my 20 by 20 canvases. Pretty color right here. Arteza Pearl Glacier Blue. All these paints are mixed the same. 1 part paint, 1.5 parts of the mix pour, and then water. They all took different amounts of water because all these paints are a different consistency. This right here is a pretty paint. I got all mixed up here. That's a combination of the Artist Loft Metallics Cobalt Blue and the Artist Loft Phthalo Green. I started off with this, added a couple of squirts of this until I got it to the color that I was looking for. We talked about this guy, beautiful paint, Treasure Gold Aquamarine. This did not take much water because it is not as heavy bodied as the two paints. Right here we have DecoArt 24 karat gold in the metallics, and I also have another cup of it over here which I'm going to use as my puddle. This right here, this turned out a beautiful color. I added the golden green hue and it was a little bit too green for me, so I slowly excuse me, started to add the Lucas indigo to it. Let me show you that color. It's just a beautiful deep blue green, a lovely turquoise color. Can you see that okay, guys? This right here for funsies is DecoArt Satin Enamel in the pure white. Once again, all these paints are mixed the same way and close, if not spot on, to the same consistency. That's the Arteza Pearl Sage Green. Now my, what's it called? Not my flood coat, my flow extender. My flow extender is in this cup. This is a bunch of light colored slop paint that I scraped up, I strained, got it to the right consistency. It's a little bit thinner than these paints, and that is what our flow extender is going to be. So there you have it, guys. Try to hang to the end. I'll give you a little tour of my little space. As always, I'm happy you're here, guys. I'm happy I'm here. Let's put some tunes on. Let's get busy. painting peeps. I get a lot of questions about where I paint. And you know what? You can make a space anywhere. When we bought our condo in downtown Asheville, one of my criterias was a place to paint. And we were lucky that it had a really nice storage unit. It's probably about 10 feet wide and 35, 40 feet deep. But the space I left in Hilton Head was 380 square feet, and believe it or not, guys, I almost prefer this. Everything is close at hand and it's compact and convenient. Over here is an area where I place my totally dried canvases, and I stare at them. Some of them need to be tweaked. This guy, for example, has a little brown cell coming up, so I'm going to paint that top a little bit more. This is where I sit. I mix my paints. You can see my large containers. Those are my slop buckets. That's where I put my leftover paints in, and I doctor them up a little bit, and I usually use them for my base coats. But I sit right here, mix my paints up. I've got all my little favorite mixing cups in different sizes, my paper towels, some shelves down here with PP pads and pigments and Rust-Oleum, satin enamels, house paints. These are buckets that I use for specific colors. For my base coat, I mix them up, and then if I don't use them all, I put a handy dandy little lid on them. My golden paints, some more satin enamels. Up here I have my DecoArt paints and my folk art paints and my Modern Masters paints. Some pouring mediums over here, porridge posse paints, some prism pours. I hang up some of my art here until it's totally dry. Then I generally move it inside and I varnish resin it and then find a place to tuck it away until it gets sold. My canvases are all down in through here. This pegboard is fantastic. It's got my Arteza, my Amsterdam paints, my Winsor Newtons. These little guys are really handy right here. Amazon guys. They're called picnicking. Let me show them to you. After my painting is done, I put it on a level surface. There's actually two there, a small one and a big one. And I cover them up to keep them away from dust and bugs and whatnot. And I leave them there for about 3 days. And then I generally move them over to this space right here. But so many people, I hope I'm not making you dizzy, ask me what I paint on. Well, I stand on this little stepping thing very carefully because my table was actually too high for a short person. This is a washing machine tray or a washing machine drain pan, and then Rick gets some wooden dowels and cuts them to size so that they slightly hang over the edge, and I place my canvas right on there. And this washing machine tray is the perfect size for a large PP pad. It fits in there absolutely perfectly. Speaking of PP pads, there's my boy Lido, who looks over at me all day long while I'm down here. My favorite piece of art right there is from my darling grandbaby Aubrey Grace. So there you have it, guys. Up there are pouring mediums, smaller canvases, chroma paints, and a little bit of everything. But this works out perfectly for me, guys. So I hope that helps you. This is my little haven, my happy place. I enjoy coming down here once a day. I take the weekends off to spend time with my man. So you have any questions, guys? Always reach out. I apologize for my voice. I just got back from Texas, and we did a lot of singing and dancing and laughing, so my throat's a little bit hoarse. Well, guys, let's go ahead and get some paints ready.